Pay attention to what is happening around you. Have you ever felt that God is trying to show you something about someone? I'm not talking about coincidences or random thoughts passing through your mind. I'm talking about that intense, almost palpable feeling that there is something important involving this person. Do you feel it? It could be someone who suddenly appeared in your life or someone you already know, but who in some way is occupying a different space in your heart now. This is not by chance. This is not a coincidence. God speaks to you in ways that aren't always obvious, but deep down you recognize, do you know what I'm talking about? Maybe it's a conversation that moved you more than it should have. Maybe it's the fact that you can't stop thinking about this person, even when you try. Or perhaps you have already noticed small details, small signs that are repeating, and no matter how much you try to ignore it, something inside you doesn't let you. It's as if God is insisting, calling your attention to something you haven't completely understood yet. Do you feel it? That maybe it's time to stop running away, to stop pretending you don't notice. This connection, this moment, this person might be more important than you imagine. If you feel that this connection is intensifying, that this person's presence in your mind is constant, and that the signs are becoming clearer, it is because there is a purpose behind it. God doesn't waste paths, and He doesn't make you feel something so profound for no reason. But do you know what often happens? We ignore, we rationalize, we try to justify it, make excuses, pretend it's just in our head. But what if it's not? Think with me. Why this person? Why now? Why are these signs so insistent? It could be that God is telling you that there is something in this relationship that you need to live, understand, or even resolve. And it could be that you are delaying this. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of insecurity, or because you think you're not ready to deal with everything that this might mean. But the truth is, if God is showing you this, it's because He believes that you have the strength to face it. And you know what the biggest problem is? Time doesn't stop. The moment you have, today may not be available tomorrow. This opportunity you have to connect, to open your eyes to see what is right in front of you. It can simply pass. And then comes that heaviness in your heart, that regret that keeps hammering. I should have done something. I should have listened to what I felt. Do you want to live with that? Do you want to carry that feeling that you let something pass that God was showing you so clearly? I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Many times the signs that God sends us come loaded with challenges. Maybe this person brings up feelings in you that you're not used to dealing with. Maybe they show you parts of yourself that you have been avoiding facing. But that's exactly why these encounters happen. To transform you, to make you grow, to show you what you need to see, even if sometimes it's uncomfortable. Now I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you afraid of opening up? Afraid of getting hurt? Or are you afraid that by following these signs you'll discover something you weren't expecting? That's normal. Everyone feels that at some point. But fear cannot be greater than your desire to live what God has prepared for you. Because in the end, ignoring His call is much more painful than facing any insecurity you may have right now. That person who is on your mind, who is somehow connected to what you feel, they are there for a reason. God does not play with our feelings. He does not plant seeds without a purpose. And if you keep ignoring this, the signs may even lessen, but the emptiness will remain. Because you know deep down that there is something in this connection that needs to be lived, resolved, understood. Now is the time to act. Not tomorrow, not when things are perfect, not when you think you are 100% ready. Because, let me tell you something, the perfect moment never comes. Total preparation never happens. God calls you to act now, exactly as you are, with the resources you have, with the strengths and weaknesses you carry. It is in the now that He wants you to do something. Have you ever thought that maybe this person is also feeling something? That maybe they are receiving the same signs, but are also afraid to act? Sometimes your attitude, your courage, can be exactly what they need to take the next step. You will never know until you try, until you open up, until you put aside all the barriers you have placed, consciously or unconsciously, and allow God to guide you. I know this is hard to hear. I know there is a part of you that is resisting, that is trying to rationalize, that is thinking of all the reasons why this doesn't make sense. But let me ask you something. What if you are wrong? What if this is the moment that can change everything in your life? Are you willing to give that up just to stay in your comfort zone? God will never push you towards something that is not for your good. This doesn't mean it will be easy or that everything will be perfect, but it means that there is a bigger plan. And if you feel in your heart that this person is part of that plan, then you need to trust, even if it seems scary, even if you don't have all the answers right now. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep ignoring what God is showing you? Are you going to wait until it's too late? Or are you going to allow yourself to live, feel, and discover what's behind these signs? The decision is yours, but remember, God is calling you. And He doesn't call without a purpose. You need to understand something important. These moments when God calls, when He makes the signs clear, don't happen for no reason. They are invitations, not orders, but invitations for you to take a step of faith, to move from a place of doubt into the realm of action. Now the question you need to ask yourself is, what am I waiting for to act? You might be hesitating because you feel like you don't know what to do, or that you don't have enough clarity about what God wants. But do you know what really happens? God doesn't need to show you the whole path. He just needs you to take the next step, one step. That's what He is asking for now. That's what these signs are saying. And that next step can be simple. It can be something as small as a gesture, a word, or even a sincere prayer. But it needs to happen. The delay can cost more than you imagine. Now tell me, are you prepared to face what this means? Because acting is often not just about the other person, it's about you. It's about being willing to strip away your barriers, your justifications and fears. It's about looking inside and admitting, yes, this is affecting me. Yes, God is talking to me, and I won't ignore it anymore. Maybe you've gone through situations in the past that made you distrustful. Maybe you've been hurt by trusting or believing in someone or something. That's normal. It's part of being human. But God doesn't act based on your past experiences. He acts based on the purpose He has for your future. And if this person is part of that, you can't use what you've lived through before as an excuse to ignore what He is showing you now. And it's not just about romance or something superficial. This connection may have to do with healing. It may have to do with growth. It could be that God has placed this person in your life to help you see things that you couldn't see on your own, or maybe so that you can be that light for them. The point is that this is bigger than you. It's about what God wants to do through you both, not just in you. Do you realize how important this is? Because the more you resist, the more you create a chasm between what God is trying to show you and the reality you're living in. And you know what's worse? When you don't listen to the signs, when you ignore them, life goes on. Opportunities pass. That unique moment that was planned to teach you something may never return in the same way. So let me ask you a serious question now. Are you willing to keep carrying this doubt? Because as long as you don't act, the doubt grows. It transforms into weight, into guilt, into unanswered questions. And that's exactly what God wants to free you from, this weight of not knowing. He wants to show you. But for that, you need to leave where you are and meet what He has already prepared for you. And it doesn't matter if you don't know exactly how to do it. God doesn't call you because you have everything ready. He calls you because He knows that, in the process, you will learn, you will grow, you will transform. He calls you because He knows that the next step is where your victory, your answer, your relief is. If you feel that this message is for you, that these words are stirring something inside you, then I want you to stop now. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what do I need to do today? Not tomorrow, not later. Today. What is the next step that God is asking me to take? It could be a message, it could be a meeting, it could be opening your heart in a way that you never have before. Whatever it is, you know. Deep down you already know. And do not let fear dominate you. It will try to paralyze you. It will try to convince you that it's safer to stay where you are. But fear has never brought answers. It has never brought peace. Fear is what keeps you trapped, while faith is what sets you free. God didn't give you this feeling for you to ignore it. He gave it to you because there is something powerful waiting for you on the other side of your decision. And remember one thing, God does not work in chaos, but He works in the unknown. And when you take the step of faith, even without knowing exactly how everything will happen, you are trusting in His plan. You are saying, I don't understand everything, but I know that you understand. And that is all you need. So tell me, what are you going to do with this? Will you continue waiting until the signs disappear? Or will you allow yourself to take a step towards what God is calling you to do? The decision is yours. But I want you to know that when you choose to listen, when you choose to act, something extraordinary happens. God begins to open doors, to move circumstances, to align everything so that His purpose is fulfilled in your life. Now close your eyes for a moment. Think about that person. Think about the signs you have received. And ask yourself, will I act or will I let this moment pass? Do not ignore it, because God is not just speaking, He is waiting for you. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Think about that person. Think about every sign you have received until now, every moment when something inside you pointed in their direction. Think about how it made you feel and how, no matter how much you tried to ignore or justify it, that feeling always comes back. This is not a coincidence, and you know it. So ask yourself honestly, will I act or will I let this moment pass? This is where many people get lost. They get caught between the desire to act and the fear of facing the unknown. But do you know what happens when you choose inertia? Nothing. Absolutely nothing changes. And that feeling, that doubt, that weight you're carrying only grows over time. Life goes on, but you remain stuck in the same place, wondering what could have happened if you had the courage to take that step. And I know, taking action requires vulnerability. It means opening up, exposing yourself, admitting that there is something more going on inside you. And that's not easy. No one likes to feel vulnerable. But do you know what's worse than that? The feeling of regret. That feeling that you had the opportunity to do something, to say something, and you chose silence. The regret of looking back and realizing you missed a chance that will never come back. That pain is far greater than any fear you are feeling right now. You need to understand that taking action doesn't mean having all the answers. It doesn't mean knowing exactly what will happen next. It means trusting that God is in control, that He is guiding each step, even when you cannot see the full path. Sometimes all He wants is for you to show faith, for you to show that you are willing to step out of your comfort zone and follow the direction He is pointing to. And when you do that, God takes care of the rest. And what if that person is waiting for you? What if, on the other side of this connection, they are also feeling the same but are afraid to act? Someone needs to take the first step. Someone needs to break this silence, break this barrier. And maybe God is choosing you to be that person, to be the one who takes the initiative, who puts pride aside and opens up to something greater. Are you willing to take on that role? Because in the end, everything comes down to choice. You can choose doubt, fear, hesitation, or you can choose action, courage, faith. You can choose to stay in the same place or take the first step towards something that could completely transform your life. No matter what the choice is, it will be yours, but know that God is speaking to you now. He is showing you in every possible way that it is time to act. So what are you going to do?